Hey you guys, it's Peter and welcome to my channel. Peter loves dogs and this is my life. And Tucker is over there. And Boo Radley said, I would like to be in the video today, Dad. And I said, okay. And he goes, because I love to talk about bad books. We're going to talk about bad books today. We're going to talk about the worst books that I read in 2018. And I will tell you one of the things that was really interesting when I was going through all of... Little Boo Radley. He says, I've got something to say. Anyway, when I was going through all of the books that I read in 2018, one of the things that was interesting was that I had 17 favorites and I had 5 books that I really didn't like. And when I mean I really didn't like them, I mean I should have DNF'd them. And if you watch my video that I posted yesterday, which was my goals for 2019, one of the things that I said in there was that I was going to do a much better job of DNFing books. That if there were books that I got 10 pages into and I was like, I'm not really into this, that I just wasn't gonna read it anymore. So these are the 5 books that I wished I would have DNF'd, thrown in the trash, given away, handed off to somebody else. No, that's not true. A couple of them I'm glad I read so that I can talk about them. But at the same time, I didn't get anything out of them, so to speak. And I think one of them or 2 of them on here will really surprise you guys. So, in no particular order, because they all were great losers to me. The first one is Richard Lehman's Endless Night. And this was such a sad one for me, and let me tell you why. I read this book about 10 years ago. Here, I gotta move over because I'm putting the screenshots up there. I read Endless Night about, well, actually, when I figured it out, it was probably 15, 20 years ago. And it terrified me the first time that I read it. And so I picked it for Peter's book club this year, and we read it, and nobody liked it, and everybody thought it was horrible, and that it was very weird and very bizarre, and I agree. It was horrible. And, you know, it's interesting when you read books at different periods of your life. This is why I'm not big on rereading books. Because, you know, you can read a book. Oh, Boo Radley is so sweet. He just, look at, I have to show you guys this. Well, I can't get him. I mean, my editing skills, right? But, he just laid down right next to me. You know, it's interesting when you reread books, especially as you get older. So, hey kids, if you're out there and you're younger, just stay tuned to when you get older. You know, it's interesting when you read a book in your 20s versus when you read a book in your 40s, you know what I mean? Or if you had read a book for the first time in your 30s. I do think that when you read a book at what's going on in your life at that time, or, you know, what you've gone through or whatever has a lot to do with that. And I don't know why at that time, but I will tell you this. I still do love Richard Lehman, the author. Last year, I read, well, not in 2018, but it would have been the year before that, because I just went through all my books and I didn't see it on there. I read another book of his, and I thought it was, I think it was, oh, I can't remember what it was called now, but it was really, really good. So I do like his writing of scary novels and things like that. He passed away years ago. If you've never read him, check it out. There's one book that he has, and I think it's called Darkness Tell Us or something like that. And it's about a librarian that finds these notes and books, and she has to kind of do all these different things, and each time she does, she gets paid more and more money. So I haven't completely given up on him, but yeah, the book was a big and the book club hated it too. So, all right, the next book is, oh, this was kind of sad too. This was a childhood book that I had gotten, and somebody either sent it to me on Thrift Books or I read it, I can't remember, but I had talked about it in a vlog, and that was The Day the Sea Rolled Back by Mickey Spillane. And I had kind of this childhood memory of getting this book with my dad when we were going up to Chicago one weekend, and I don't remember if I ever finished the book. I don't think I did, but I remember this book, you know, and it was this whole idea that one day the sea rolled back out, and then these 2 kids went out and they were treasure hunting and all this kind of stuff. Okay, that was not what the book was about. The book was depressing. The book was poorly written. The book was boring. It just was not good. And I thought, it's by Mickey Spillane. It can't be bad. If you remember me talking about this book, if you watched my vlog or this channel back when I was reading it, it literally, I don't have my Goodreads pulled up right now, but it literally took me months to finish this book, okay? And it was 110 pages. It shouldn't have taken me that long. It should have taken me a day, right? It took me months. It was so bad. So that was another one. Okay. And then the next one was, okay, the next 3 are kind of popular books. So a lot of people might disagree with me on this one. Now, the next book that I read was Meddling Kids by Edgar Quintero. I was really, really excited about this book, okay? I had seen this book in the bookstore many times, and I had seen the Audible version, and I had thought about getting it, and so finally I broke down and I bought it. And the cover was absolutely gorgeous on it, and the background story about these kids that, like, they came back to their hometown, and then they, like, reinvestigated. They were part of this, like, detective murder club, and they reinvestigated this detective story that had happened when they were there. And so it was very, like, going into it was very much like a mix between, like, a Lois Duncan book, like I Know What You Did Last Summer, and, like, Scooby-Doo. Excuse me. And so I was really, really excited to read it. It did very much have feelings of, like, Scooby-Doo and that kind of stuff. What was interesting was it was just questionable. Like, they were in their 20s and just, I don't know. It was just like, some of the, like, the age that they were was the age of my brother-in-law. And, like, they were, like, giving up their lives to chase, like, this monster. Like, I don't know. It just, I really, really struggled with it. Like, I thought it should have gone all dark or all, like, kind of like, you know, I don't know, comical or whatever. And I couldn't really tell if it was supposed to be like a young adult book or if it was supposed to be an adult book, because some of the things were very adult and some of the things were, it just was a mess. And I just didn't love it. And I really struggled getting through it. And the thing was, this book could have been so much more. I was really, really excited for what this book could be. And you know, like when you go into a book and you're so excited about, like, oh my God, this book is going to be so good, and then it turns out to just be a flop. That's how it was for me. So, okay. I keep on going back to that horrible Richard Lehman book. Okay. I'm going to save the last one because I know some people aren't going to like that. The next one was, and this was a recommendation for my husband, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, The Japanese Art of Decluttering and Organizing by Marie Kondo. Now, I read a lot of self-help books, and if you don't know, I have a motivational channel called Peterisms where I read meditation books, and I talk over there about a lot of self-help books and things like that. I read a lot of self-help books. I'm currently reading 9 Things Successful People Do That Unsuccessful People Don't. And it's very short, and I think my husband bought it for me from Urban Outfitters or something. But I'm always reading self-help books, and I love them, right? And I thought, because years ago, I had read this book, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was about decluttering your life. Excuse me, I've been sick for the last couple days. And it's really about, this book was about, like, if you organize certain areas of your house, like, it helps you organize, like, your mind, and it declutters your mind. And I'm kind of all over the place anyway, so I like that kind of thinking. So I went into this thinking it was going to be very similar to that, right? It wasn't. It was about, it just was very much about, like, you put all your shoes in a pile, and then you hold them up, and you're like, does this shoe have, hold on, please, let me do a little, I got props, because I had my shoes on, but I took them off for the video. But you, like, hold up your shoe, and you're like, does this shoe have an emotional attachment? Do I have an emotional attachment to this shoe? Oh, no, throw it out. And she was like, even in the video, or in the book, she was like, my brother once threw out like 400 pairs of shoes. I was like, well, good for your brother, okay? Like, I don't care. I keep everything because you don't know when it's going to come back in style. My husband got rid of so much stuff, and he cleaned out the entire closet, and I was like, oh my God, this is so depressing. What if you want to wear that? What if I lose weight and I want to wear it, you know? So anyway, I did not love the book. I thought she was very preachy in it. I thought she lectured a lot. It just wasn't my kind of thing. But I know that a lot of people really, really liked this book. So, you know what? Go try it. If you don't want to go try to read the book, she just got her own Netflix show. So see, that's what happens. You lecture people in a book, okay, and then they make it into an Audible version. You sell millions of copies just because somebody out there thinks it's a good thing, and then you get your own Netflix TV show. It's a bunch of crap. So anyway. Now the next book really, really surprised me that I didn't like. And I wouldn't say, okay, here's the thing. I gave it 3 stars, but this is very similar to, like, John Green. You know, I love John Green so much. I know, it's trite to love John Green, but I do, okay? I did not like Turtles All the Way Down. I didn't dislike it, okay? I didn't think it was horrible. I just didn't think it held up to the rest of his books, if that makes sense. And so I did not love Turtles All the Way Down. And so when people say to me, like, well, what did you think of Turtles All the Way Down? I say, oh, I gave it a 3. Like, it wasn't that great in comparison to what The Fault in Our Stars was to me, if that makes sense, okay? So when I read Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli, I did not love it. And let me just tell you, this was literally on the heels, okay? I think it was like 5 books before I had read The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli, which in 2017 had been one of my favorite books of 2017. I love so much Simon versus the Homo sapiens Agenda, which then they made into the movie Love, Simon, which I thought was fantastically done. I loved the book so much. But when I read and I literally, honestly, when I read it, truthfully told, when I read it, I thought, is this Becky Albertalli going to be like a one and done? Like, is this going to be like she's going to write one book? And, you know, people criticized her, you know, as being a cis woman and writing about a gay character and all that kind of stuff. And I just thought she did such a fantastic job. Honest to God, like, that was my story when I was in high school. So when I read that book, I was like, if this book had existed when I was in high school, like, you know, like, and I can remember when I said that actually in a review, and people were like, well, you don't really know, like, nobody really knows, like, her, you know, background story or anything like that, which is true, too. All I know is that when I read that book, when I read Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda, I so completely connected and related to that story 20 years ago, you know? And I was like, if this book had existed when I was in high school, it like would have saved my life to some degree. Like, I would have felt not so alone. And so when I read it, I thought it was fantastic. But I thought, now, is this going to be like a one and done? Is she going to be like a one-hit wonder? And then she put out The Upside of Unrequited, and I was just blown away. I was just absolutely blown away. And I thought it was, as much as I loved Simon, I thought that was so much better, you know? And then she comes out with Leah and the Offbeat, and I'm like, okay, we pushed it too far. Now, see, let me just tell you something, okay? What pudding was to dumpling is what Leah and the Offbeat should have been to Simon, but it wasn't. And I'm sorry, Becky. I'm sorry. I just didn't love it, okay? I thought Leah was kind of bitter. I thought that her as a musician could have been so much more. I did a whole review on it. You can go check it out. It just, to me, didn't seem super developed, and I wanted her to be so developed. Like, I really liked Leah. She so much reminded me of a friend of mine in high school. I so wanted her, and I know some people loved this book. So, you know, I mean, some people, hey, listen, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. We like what we like, right? So anyway, I don't know. But those were my 5 books that I didn't like. I will tell you, I have not read yet. I just actually got it on Audible, so I should probably just look it up so I get this name right. I'm currently reading Sadie by Courtney Summers, which is so good. If you guys want a good book, go read Sadie by Courtney Summers. It is fantastic. But I just got on here, where is it? What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. And make sure I pronounce everybody's name right. Adam Silvera, yeah. I've read everything by him, so I should know his name. And I've read everything by her, too, you know? And I do think that's the hard thing, is, like, when you read an author and you've read everything by them, like Benjamin Elier Sainz, who wrote, you know, Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. I love that book so much. And when I read Last Night I Sang to the Monster, I loved him even more. It was so fantastically done. If you've never read it, it is a story of addiction and treatment. It is fantastic. And then when I read, I don't even remember what it's called, My Miserable Life or whatever, I didn't love it. And I was like, and that book was the one that came out last year, not 2018, but 2017. I just didn't, I don't know, it just didn't have any kind of impact on me whatsoever. And that's the thing, is that when you have an author that you love, you're not going to love everything by them. You know what I mean? And I think that's just part of accepting it, but it doesn't mean that they've lost it. It doesn't mean that, you know, because what you love and what somebody else, because I know as I'm saying this, somebody else is out there and they're like, I loved Leah and the Offbeat, and that was my favorite book. And it should be, you know? And I think that's fantastic. And I think that's why I wanted to get on BookTube to begin with, so that I could have conversations with people, and people could introduce me to books that I had never heard of, and maybe somebody hated a book and maybe I loved it. And, you know, so the books that I don't like are going to be different than the books that you like. I think that is what is so awesome about this community, and why I'm so thankful to be part of it, you know, and I learn every day about new books that I don't like, and these are the 5, so... at the end of 2019, going into 2020... I'm so old. I hope that I don't have any books that I didn't like. I hope that instead my video is the 5 books that I DNF'd in 2019, because I don't want to waste my time reading books that I don't like anymore. It's just a waste of my time. So anyway, let me know what you think about the books that I mentioned in this. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.